Hi everyone, welcome to Mildura Art Centre's Social Drawing at Home Live. I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the lands on which we are meeting and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. In today's session, we will be creating drawings from the shadows of household items, objects and toys. And we'll be learning how you can use torches, lamps, sunlight or any light source and your favourite drawing materials to create art. Even candlelight can cast shadows. So to get the most out of today's session, have a look around your home and see if you have any paper. It can be any kind of paper, your journal, anything at all, and your favourite drawing materials, pencils, textures, pens, crayons, pastels, etc. So we're going to start, and I've been having lots of fun exploring with things. So as I mentioned, you can use anything at all to create the shadows. So I've got, for example, a little handheld torch or flashlight, depending where you're tuning in from. A bigger one that you can kind of sit and have something in front of to cast a shadow. I have a lovely light set up on a stand, so that's why I'm getting such lovely shadows. So we're just going to start. I'm going to show you some different things that you can use, and then we'll start drawing. So I've got a whole heap of different things because I got carried away, like I say. So I had this pyramid that I had from a workshop that we had done on site here at Mac. So you know that casts a shadow. A spool of thread casts a great shadow. What else do we have? We've got Super Mario toy, plastic toy that I think came from a fast food restaurant toy in a kids meal. That casts a great shadow. Another toy, we've got a little puppy dog and a doghouse that casts some interesting shadows. A mini canvas that I had, because why wouldn't I have that in my collection of things? So the mini easel casts an interesting shadow, and so does the little baby canvas as well. A texter, a very short stubby texter. Again, great shadow. And the way that I have the light set up, it is coming across from the right hand side of the page. I have a little wooden mannequin that I think I purchased from Kmart. You can purchase them from any of the cheap shops, including or any art materials, art supplies. So there's one of those, casting some great shadows. A pen holder, again, that I got from one of the $2 shops. Some interesting shadows that we can draw around. And you can pop things inside. A plastic container, again, casting some interesting shadows. A bottle. A little water spray. A cardboard box. Like I said, I have so much stuff and we're going to have lots of fun today. And a little teeny tiny train carriage that was my son's, popped on top. That kind of makes like a interesting shadow on the bottom of that. So we might get started to, actually I almost forgot. And beautiful shadows are cast by crystal glasses, if you have any in your glass cabinet or lurking, any kind of glass will do too. Okay, so we'll start. I'll bring out my trusty, actually, hang on, I've got some stuff there, casting shadows onto my page. So I'm going to try and start with my page to be as clear as possible before I start. So I've got my trusty little cardboard man, or person, gender neutral, and I'm going to trace around the outside. So the idea is that you're wanting the object to cast a shadow onto the page. And we are going to trace around the exterior of that cast shadow and create a drawing from that. So there's, just using, some different ideas of how to make art. So I'm going to start drawing around, and you may notice that I've actually got a bit of a double shadow happening, which could be interesting too. But I'm just going to try and start off with tracing around the exterior of the main shadow to start off with. So just joining up there. And because I can see, actually I even have a triple shadow. So I'm going to draw in the second shadow that I can see, which is a little lighter, but still sort of obvious that I can see. And I'm going to trace around that. I'm not sure where that shadow's gone, it's disappeared, but that's okay. And then at the base here, I also have another shadow, which I'm going to trace around. So just creating a composition from cast shadows. And you can also, if you don't have a strong light source, I mean, for example, I said that I do have a great setup with a light on a stand to cast the shadows. This also works really well outside in sunlight. So on a sunny day, it's a little overcast here today in Mildura. It's been raining overnight, but by all means you can set up your objects outside in the sunlight. So you don't necessarily need to be doing this with a light, with an artificial light source. The sun is a perfect example of creating these shadow drawings. So I'm going to move that off the page, and you can see what we've sort of done here. So I've got the main outside shape, then the secondary shadow over the top, and then the shadow from the base. So yeah, if I put that back again, I may or may not get that in exactly the right spot, which is all the more fun. I might just kind of move across here, and there's actually another shadow that I can see. Even the shadow of my hand, you know, you could perhaps maybe draw the shadow of your hand as well. So that's one example of my favourite little object, and this object's really good. I like to use this because it has sharp edges, and it's opaque, which means it's not see-through, so you get a distinct outline around that one. So I'm going to take that one away, and the next thing I'm going to add, you know, what can we add? Maybe our person might like to have a giant rabbit next to it. So this is my lovely rabbit. I've used rabbit before in my in our social drawing at home sessions. Again, it's an opaque object, so it's not see-through. And I've got a double shadow happening here too. So I'm going to draw around the main one. My giant rabbit around the outside. Oops. And then the other shadow, the secondary shadow that I can see, which you may or may not be able to see on the camera. And then around the back I can see another shadow, which is its tail and its bottom, and the base around here. So you can choose to draw just the one shadow if that's what you're wanting to do, or you can do what I've done and create these draw around the multiple shadows, the multiple lines, and then go back in and work on that. So I'm just going to leave that there for a moment, and I'm going to get a fresh piece of paper, pop that to one side, and I'm going to try with drawing these beautiful crystal glasses. So you can see again we have a distinct outline, but also because the object is transparent, it's glass, and you can see the patterns that are falling onto the paper, makes it a really interesting kind of object to draw. So I'm going to draw around the outside edge first. And because there's the glass is cut glass, there are notches in the outside, the outline. So I'm going to try and draw around that without casting my hand shadow, which is a bit difficult, but I'm being mindful of holding the pencil. So harking back to our last session. Okay, so I've got the exterior, but what I can also see, which you may be able to see on the camera, is that the silhouette or the shape of the glass, there's a cut piece here that is on a diagonal, the glass. So I'm going to draw that, which is quite a distinctive straight line. So I'm drawing that one. And I can also see these patterns on the page from the cut glass. So I'm going to draw around those. And there's actually some double shadows happening here, but I'm going to start off with the main shadow first, and then I'm going to go back in. So starting off, what the approach I'm taking is doing the obvious shapes first, and then I'm going to go back in and work in some of the more subtle shapes that are being cast by the glass. So if you are joining us, tuning in at home and drawing along, let us know what it is you're drawing. Drop us a comment, say hi. Love to know if you're following along, and if you're not, if you're just watching for the time being, say hi too. We'd love to see who is joining us, who are joining us, if you are. Okay, so I've done the main shapes that I can see. Actually, I've missed one there. But now I'm going to draw the double shadow, which is the cast. That's more of a defined one. There. And the double shadow, which I'm going to use the side of my pencil just to vary the line and make it a little softer, so not as sharp. Actually, I've missed one of the sharper shapes here, so I'm just going to draw that with the tip of my pencil, and now I'm going to use the side of my pencil, and I'm going to, can you see if you can see what I'm doing here? I'm just putting in the double shadow. Just going to do that just to make some marks and to vary the line in my drawing. So you may not be able to see this the double shadow because it is very subtle, and I am concentrating to see them myself, and I'm sort of a little closer. But you might be doing this at home if you're using a glass. There's another shape here, very subtle shape. So you can really go to town. I'm going to actually draw around the outside, and I can see a lovely double shadow at the base of the glass that I've just noticed when I've drawn my attention to the bottom, the stem of the glass near the bottom. So I'm just going to draw that very loosely, and a stronger shape around the round shape at the bottom. So I'm going to draw both of those. Okay, and there's a more subtle line around there, so I'll take that away so you can see kind of what I've done. And it's shapes. We're drawing shapes, so it doesn't necessarily have to look like a glass. You know that what I was drawing was a glass because you saw on camera what I was doing. However, the point of doing this exercise is we're creating different ways of making marks, of drawing, of playing, because really we're playing, and I am playing. I am having fun. I'm just concentrating. So what you can do is you can actually move if you're using a glass, you can move this shape across the page and draw it over and over and over again, and vary those patterns. But I want to try a different glass because I bought another glass with me. And why not? I have lots of things to draw. So I'm going to try and get as much done as I can in the time that we have together tonight. So this is another glass that I bought with me. It's a shorter glass, so you can see the patterns are, if you can see that on the camera, much more pronounced. think it's just the way that, although it is a similar shape, because they are lower to the page, the shadows are much stronger. So I'm going to, again, with the tip of my pencil, being quite deliberate with my mark making, I'm going to draw around those definite shapes, just to vary the mark making. And when you're drawing, you're experimenting. So we're experimenting. And I do love to say that, practicing and experimenting, we learn lots of different things. You may want to plan what it is that you're going to be drawing on the page a little more, but I am just concentrating on playing and having fun and showing you what the possibilities are. So please do share what you're doing if you're drawing with us today, and where you're drawing, and if you're using a torch, a light, or if you're outside, if there is any sunlight outside at this point. So putting in these shapes that I can see. I can see another one there, and I can see a much more subtle double shadow here at the base, which is reflecting the round shape of the glass, which I'm going to use on, I think I was being a little bit optimistic there, using my left hand. I'm right-handed, so I'm not sure how this is going to go, not very well. So we'll just continue with my right hand around the shapes. And again, there's some double shadows happening. I'm just going to, with the side of my pencil again, put in some shading where that secondary shadow is. Again, just varying the line and playing around with what I can see on the page from the cast shadows. So what do you think of this activity? We'd love to get your thoughts about what you're thinking, whether you're liking it, whether you're not liking it, are you enjoying it, are you having fun? That's what we want to know. We want to know everything. So I'm just going to trace around just draw around the outside from where what I can see where I'm sitting. I'm going to take that away. So you can see again that the lines that we've created. And at this point, if you would like to add colour, you can do that, or whatever you're using. If you've got coloured pencils or textures, or I've even got some fluorescent highlighters, you can do that too. The beauty of the highlighters is that they're transparent. So if you're wanting to keep that transparency in your drawing, you can do that as well. So popping in. I'm surprised I didn't pick pink, fluoro pink. I've gone for the orange. You can do that as well. Really have a play. Or you might like to just keep it monochrome and use your pencil and add some shadows and some shading, or whatever it is that you're wanting to do with that one. So I'm going to do, what else can we experiment with today? I'm going to try, because I quite like this one. I just had this cardboard box that actually had some small apples, which I've kept. It's a lovely little box. And the little train carriage, that was my son's. I'm just going to place them on top of each other. So you can stack objects up on top of each other to make the different shapes. So there's no reason why you just have to pop that on its own. I'm going to draw around the shadow that I can see from the box and the little train carriage. So I'm going to go around the outside, and this time I'm going to use the flat part of my pencil, turn it on its side. And just around the outside again. I really do need to be ambidextrous for this activity. And the shadow that I can see from those little round windows. And I can see a double shadow again. So I'm going to use the point of my pencil and just do, even though that's a much more subtle shape, I'm going to vary my line again and draw that very roughly. And then I'm going to draw around the actual object, hold it down so it doesn't bump. And a third shadow that I can see at the base. And another shadow up here that I missed earlier. I'm going to take that away. So that's quite interesting. To me, I see kind of like a, those round circles almost look like eyes to me, but maybe that's just me. I could say something about the state of my mind. So it is whatever, however we see things. You can see that plastic container that I have is also casting some really interesting shadows on the page, which I'll deal with there. Again, I don't like to throw too many things out. This was something that we developed as one of our art activities, art workshops at MAC, Mildura Art Centre. A little sculptural activity that we made out of a cardboard cup, coffee cup. So I'm going to incorporate that into this drawing too, and just draw those shadows again. So anything that you've made, so it doesn't have to be bought, it can be anything you've got in your house, your kids' toys, something they've created. Maybe you've got an earring stand at home, or something that you can rig up with a cup and some gaffer tape or masking tape. So that's the exterior of that shadow. Then I can see another more subtle shadow on the inside here. I think I can see another shadow there, and at the bottom I can see a more pronounced shadow. So take that away, and we've got lots of marks on the page that we can then add colour to and really have some fun and create. So number 3, I really did like the subtlety in this semi-transparent plastic cup. So I'm going to draw the outside of this with the side of my pencil again, varying the line. And here again I need to be ambidextrous, which I'm not doing a very good job of this, but anyway, winging it. You know, things don't have to be perfect, just playing around and making the marks, trying different things, enjoying the process, not overthinking things. Just allow yourself the time to experiment. Okay, so I can see another shadow here, but what I can see on the page are these amazing patterns that have been cast by this semi-transparent plastic. And I'm just going to use the side of my pencil and just shade in what I can see. You can do this with a pencil, or if you have inks, for example, or remember almost one of the first sessions that we did, we created our own watercolours and pigments from what you found in your cupboard. You can brew up some tea to create some washes that you might want to add to vary the shape. So we can always revisit all of the things that we've learnt before. We don't have to do things that are new all the time, but it's just a really fun way to create and enjoy the process. This isn't quite this is some of what I can see on the page, and I'm going to draw around the base of this too and take that away. So that was some of the shapes that I found that I saw with the plastic cup. So probably got time for another. So I have this little water spray, water in a bottle. Again, some interesting patterns on the page. So I'm going to have a little bit of fun with this one. I'm just going to draw the outside, whoops, and then draw the reflections of the water on the page. And there's a sort of like another definite shape here, and then the reflections on the water are actually sort of creating circular patterns as well. And I'm going to draw around that. And then I'm going to revisit what it is that I've drawn, have a look at it, and turn it back into a water spray, just for fun. So just playing around with whatever we have. I also have a cool bouncy ball that is my son's. He doesn't know that I have it. But again, an interesting shape. So I'm going to draw around the outside of that. And just going fast. I'm sure, you can take as much time as you would like to at home. But I'm just getting this done quickly. So this, actually I've got 4 shadows here that I can see. So we've got shapes. You can go back in and then block in some colour, some patterns, some shapes. Another bottle that I had sitting on my desk. Some other shapes that I can see cast around. So just really playing around, and you can pop objects into other objects to create, similar to what we did with the cardboard box and the little train carriage on top. So we can quickly trace around this one. I'm having so much fun. Time is flying with this session. So the sky is the limit. What do you have in your house? What are you drawing with? What are you thinking that you might like to use if you're following along as well? So I'm going to try and make, because I can see, if you can see it on the camera, there are all these little teeny tiny circles that are cast from this amazing mesh. But if I did them all, we'd be here for quite a while. We don't have that much time, unfortunately. But really having fun with what you can see. I'm just going to draw in a few and take that away. So if you do, take the time to draw all those little patterns in, imagine what you could do. I even have a little baby Sharon football that also my son's, he doesn't know that I have. I also found like a double adapter. That's an interesting shape, interesting shadow. You can draw around to create a shape. Lots of different ways to create drawings. And to make different things. Here's my little spool, my thread spool. So anything at all that you have at home in front of you, you may like to use. And we would love to see what you're doing. So if you are at home, drawing along or thinking about what it is that you're doing, let us know what you're doing. It'd be great. I'd really love to see. We really love to see your drawings at the end, and we'd love to share them with people, with others, if you are willing to. We are kind of drawing to a close of this month's session. So our next session will be Saturday the 14th of November at 2 p.m. So please join us via Facebook Live or via YouTube. And in our next session we'll be exploring and learning about perspective and how we come across doing that in our drawings. So simple methods to do that. We are still closed to the public. Mildura Arts Centre, we are still closed to the public, and we're just waiting, hopeful that there'll be some announcements for Victoria in the next few days about when we may or may not be able to reopen. However, we're still creating and sharing online content via our website, milduraartscentre.com.au, and via our social media channels, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and YouTube. So please do join us, keep an eye on our webpage, and if you haven't done so already, sign up for our e-news, which you can do via our website. And we'd really love to see you join us again soon. Have fun and let us know what it is you've been doing today. Thanks.